These are the words that have been pressing on my spirit, carrying a weight I could not set down until now. What I am about to speak, I do not claim as coming from me alone. These are the words I believe the Father is saying over the heart that sits with this right now. Receive them slowly. Every line was weighed before it was sent. Chosen one, I wrote this letter before you were born, before the foundations of the world were set, before the waters were gathered and the dry land was given its name, before the first morning star sang its opening note into the deep and creation heard its own voice for the first time, I picked up the pen. I sat with your name, the way only I can sit with a name, knowing every syllable of what it would be asked to carry, every weight it would have to hold, every season it would be required to pass through before it arrived at the person you are today. I thought about the specific texture of your silence and the particular quality of your longing. I thought about every night that would come before this one. Every line was measured. Every sentence passed through my hands before it reached yours. There is nothing accidental in what you are about to receive. Do not rush through what was written slowly. There is no filler in this letter. Not one sentence stands without purpose. Every word is placed exactly where it stands because you needed it there, in this specific season of your life. Not last year. Not the version of you from 3 years ago. This season. This precise stretch of quiet and questioning, of waking up some mornings and not quite recognizing the person in the mirror, of carrying something in your chest that you have not had the language to name to anyone, of doing the faithful, invisible work, and wondering if any of it is being witnessed by something larger than yourself. The fact that you are reading this is not coincidence. There is no coincidence in a life. I am curating this carefully. Every step that led you here was accounted for, and none of it was careless. If this letter found you today, type 777 inches, the comments below. That number carries the weight of divine confirmation. It means you are exactly where you were always meant to be, at the exact moment you were always meant to arrive. Let me tell you now what I see when I look at you. Let me show you the first lines of what I wrote, the ones I composed about your specific and particular life. Because this is where the letter begins, with the truth of what has been witnessed. I see what no one else has been given eyes to see. I see the nights, the ones where the hour was all wrong for waking, and yet there you were, eyes open in the dark, your thoughts moving louder than they had any right to be, at 3 a.m. or in the small hours just before dawn. You lay there not knowing if something was wrong with you or if something was being asked of you, and because you did not know which it was, you lay still and let the thoughts move through you like weather, waiting for them to pass. That was not insomnia, that was me keeping you awake, because the daytime has grown too loud for the things I have needed to say to you for a long time. And now, in this letter, you are finally reading what I have been trying to deliver to you in the dark for weeks and months. I see the tears that arrived without announcement this past season, without a cause you could have named to anyone, without feeling as though you were making too much of something too small. You were in the middle of an ordinary moment, standing in a store, or sitting in a room full of people who had no idea what was moving through you, and something pressed against the back of your eyes and your throat tightened, and you had to work harder than anyone knew to hold it together. You told yourself there was no reason for it, but the reason was me. That was my presence touching the part of you that has been holding on for a very long time without a witness who could see the full weight of what you have been carrying. That was the accumulated heaviness of everything you have been responsible for, finally recognizing, in the only language the body has left when words are not enough, that it was being seen completely and without condition. And in that seeing, something began to loosen. Something that had been gripped very tightly for a very long time began, almost imperceptibly, to release. You did not have to earn it. It arrived because the weight was finally witnessed by the one who sees without condition. You have been so quietly strong, not the kind of strong that makes it into stories or gets celebrated or mentioned in the way people describe you to others. The invisible kind. The kind that gets up again the next morning after the night it truly wanted to stop getting up. The kind that stays present in rooms where presence is the most expensive thing you have to offer, and nobody around you knows the cost. The kind that keeps choosing to show up for something even when the evidence that it matters has grown thin and quiet. Every one of those choices I saw, not a single one was missed by the one who never misses anything that carries real weight. And that is the first truth I needed you to know before we went any further in this letter. I see the way the places and the people that once felt like home have begun to feel different. Environments you used to move through easily now feel like they belong to a version of you that you have been outgrowing, slowly and without knowing when the outgrowing began. Conversations that once felt nourishing now leave you emptier when they are over than you were when they started. The words that used to fill you no longer land the way they did. You find yourself nodding, agreeing, performing a kind of presence that no longer matches what is happening inside you. Friendships that once anchored you now require a version of yourself that you can no longer fully inhabit. And you feel a guilt about that which you have not been able to shake. But I want you to hear me say this directly. That guilt is not evidence that you are doing something wrong. It is the signal that an expansion is underway. I do not remove old comfort without replacing it with something larger. What feels like loss right now is the early movement of arrival. And the numbers. You have been seeing them. The repeating sequences that appear at moments too specific and too exact to dismiss. 333. When you were in the middle of a thought, you believed no one could observe. 444, when you were questioning whether what you had spent years believing was still real. 11, when you glanced at the clock in the second, you would otherwise have looked away. The same phrase appearing in 3 completely unrelated sources in the same week. The song that played at the exact moment you were thinking about something you had told no one. These are not coincidences. There is no accident in a life I am curating with this much care. Every repetition is my handwriting on the surface of your ordinary day, saying I am here, I am fully aware, and I have not lost the thread of what I am building through you. And there is the knowing, the flash of recognition that arrives before the information that should logically precede it, the sense of having been in a moment before you were actually in it. The certainty about a situation that settled faster than reasoning could account for. The feeling of deep familiarity when you meet someone new, as if some layer of you was already expecting them from somewhere much older than this conversation. That is not imagination running ahead of itself. That is the frequency I placed in you at the beginning being activated, slowly and deliberately, in the season when you are finally becoming ready to trust it, rather than argue yourself out of it every time it arrives. There is one more thing I see, a quieter change than the rest, and because it is quieter, it may be the one you have least understood. Something in you that used to reach toward creative expression, toward making something, toward producing something from the inside of yourself that had not existed before, has grown still, not gone, still. The itch to write something, to build something, to bring something new into existence that lives in the specific shape of the way you see the world, it is still there. But something has been pressing down on it, making the reach feel longer than it used to be, making the gap between the impulse and the act feel wider than it once was. That stillness is a signal too. It is telling you the same thing all the other signs have been saying. Something that was fully on is running at a reduced capacity, and the reduction is not permanent. But we will come back to that. Keep reading. Now, in this letter, I want to speak to something that lives in a different register than divine signs and spiritual orchestration. It lives in the body. in the mind, in the way your thinking has been feeling lately, the fog that was not as thick a few years ago, the moments when you reach for a thought and it slides just past the tips of your fingers, the times when your mind used to move like water over stone, clear and quick and connected, and now something seems to be pressing down on that movement, slowing it, muffling what should be immediate. You have told yourself this is age, or stress, or simply the accumulated cost of being tired for too long. But it is none of those things. What it is a suppression, and suppressed things can be unsuppressed. There are scientists who have been studying exactly this. A doctor in New York who has spent 20 years looking at the precise mechanism by which the mind that was once lit from within grows quiet in the way yours has been growing quiet. He found something, not in the chemistry of aging or in the standard fatigue literature. He found it in the relationship between the two hemispheres of your brain, and what happens to that relationship when it is gradually interrupted by the pressure and pace of a world that was never designed to hold the full brightness of what you arrived with. I will tell you more about what he discovered as this letter continues, but carry this with you now. What went quiet in you is not permanently quiet. What was suppressed can be freed. The switch that dimmed can be turned back on. Hold that question and keep reading. There are deeper lines still to come in this letter, and the next ones speak to the question you may have been carrying for much longer than you have allowed yourself to admit. I wrote about your choosing. Of all the hearts that existed in your generation, of all the capacities and gifted natures that moved through the world in the same years you moved through it, I chose you specifically and deliberately. The answer to why is not the one you have been expecting. I did not choose you because you were the most obvious candidate. I did not choose you because your path has been smooth or your history without its seasons of genuine crisis. I chose you because of what happened inside the breaking. When the thing broke that you believed would hold you, when the season arrived that you had no adequate framework for surviving, and yet you survived it anyway, something was revealed in the interior of you that cannot be manufactured and cannot be performed. Most people, when they shatter, scatter outward. What remains afterward is smaller and more defended than what was present before. But when you broke, the pieces did not scatter, they reorganized. Something in the deepest center of you refused to be reduced. Something said, without words, this is not where the story ends for me. This is the moment I find out what I am actually made of, and what I am made of is not going to fail here. That refusal was not willpower. It was not personality or temperament. It was your assignment recognizing itself in the wreckage and refusing to be buried there. I chose you because of the people you loved when it cost you something real to keep loving them. Not the easy loves, not the connections that improved the quality of your days and asked nothing difficult in return. The costly ones. The friendship you stayed present for past the point where anyone could reasonably have expected you to stay because something in you could see what was still possible in that person, even when the person could not see it in themselves, and you could not leave that seeing unwitnessed. The family member you returned to again and again when others had long since stopped returning. The stranger whose weight you felt so acutely in passing that you could not keep walking without pausing. Every one of those moments was not random generosity. Every one was a classroom. Every one taught you something that cannot be learned by reading or listening. The specific knowledge that comes from choosing to remain fully human when it would have been easier and far safer to become just a little less capable of being moved. Every one was building in you a specific and irreplaceable capacity for carrying the weight of something much larger than a single relationship. And I chose you because of the seasons you waited. I know fully what I am asking you to receive here, because I know how long the wait has been and what it has looked like from the inside of it. I know what it is to stand in what feels like the same place year after year, while the world around you advances in the directions you were told would be yours as well. I know the particular way a promise begins to sound like a language you no longer speak fluently when enough time passes without confirming evidence. I know the specific loneliness of a waiting that cannot be explained to people who are not currently inside it. The loneliness of knowing something with every cell of your body that no one around you would believe if you tried to speak it aloud. The loneliness of believing something that you cannot yet point to as proof, of living as though a thing is true before the evidence for it has arrived, of carrying faith past the point where carrying it makes logical sense. That is not delusion. That is one of the most profound forms of courage I have ever witnessed, and I have been witnessing it in you for longer than you know. And I need you to hear me say this with full clarity. The waiting was not punishment. It was not evidence that I looked away or forgot you, or decided you were not worth the investment of my attention. The waiting was formation, the specific years of it, the particular lessons that lived inside each of those years, the exact shape of what was being built in you by the enduring of them. All of that was not accidental. It was designed intentionally and precisely for what I am preparing to place in your hands in this season. You cannot carry what is coming with the person you were before the waiting began. That is not a criticism of who you were. It is the truth that certain things can only be held by someone who has had their certainty stripped down and rebuilt from something deeper than certainty alone. The steadiness required for the next season can only be formed in the specific fire of the waiting. The fire was the waiting. The waiting was the gift I was extending while it felt like the gift was being withheld. If you have been waiting longer than felt sustainable, type the words, "I was never forgotten," in the comments below, 'cause you were not. Not for a single breath, not for a single hour. There is a tender line in this letter that I have been carrying until the right moment. A line about something that belonged to you from the very beginning of your life and was slowly taken from you by forces that did not have the right to take it. Receive this next section carefully. Think about who you were when you were very young, not to generate nostalgia and not to produce grief for time that passed, as a reference point, because there was a version of you that existed before the world had finished editing you. Before the comparisons, before the systems and the social pressures and the accumulated weight of being told in 1,000 different tones over hundreds of different moments what you should and should not be. In that version, your mind worked in a way it does not currently work. Learning arrived the way light arrives in a window that has just been unshuttered, without force and without the grinding quality it so often carries now. Creativity was not something you produced by effort, it was something you moved in the way you moved in air. The gap between the question and the knowing was almost nothing. You were bright, not because you labored at brightness, but because brightness was native to you and had not yet been interfered with. Then the interference began, not in a single dramatic moment and not through one wound you can point to and name. It was gradual. It was the accumulation of 1,000 small redirections, each one too subtle to feel like the theft it was, all of them together constituting something significant. The world you were born into was not designed to sustain the full power of what you arrived with. Its systems rewarded efficiency and compliance over the kind of original, deeply connected thinking that disrupts comfortable arrangements. The school environments taught you that the right answer was more valuable than the unexpected one. The social environments taught you that standing out was more costly than blending in. The professional environments taught you that predictability was safer than brilliance. And somewhere in the accumulation of all of that, the part of your mind that was most alive, most connected to the full power of what you were built for, began to dim. It did not break. It did not die. It was suppressed. And here, in this letter, I want to say something clearly. Suppressed things can be unsuppressed. What was buried can be recovered. What went quiet was not silenced forever. It was waiting for the season when someone would show you that it was still there and still recoverable, and that the recovery was not a distant or difficult project, but something specific and available and already being prepared. The science behind this is not spiritual, it is neurological. It rests on one of the most significant research breakthroughs of the 20th century. In 1981, a man named Dr. Roger Sperry received the Nobel Prize for proving something that should have changed the way the world understood the human mind. He proved that the two hemispheres of your brain were designed to operate in synchrony, both hemispheres firing together as a unified whole. And when they do, a state becomes available that scientists who study peak performance have documented consistently across every field of human achievement. Tesla worked from this state. The greatest creative and intellectual minds in recorded history produced their most enduring work from inside it. It is not mystical. It is the state your brain was designed to produce naturally from the day you were born, before the suppression began. What happened was not that your brain deteriorated. What happened was that the connection between your two hemispheres was gradually interrupted. The way a radio produces static, not because the radio itself is broken, but because the signal that was designed to flow through it has been disrupted. Your mind has been producing the fog not because it is diminishing, but because the synchrony it was built to operate in has been slowly interfered with by a way of life that was never constructed with your full potential as its priority. And there is a specific and documented way to restore the signal. Before this letter gives you the most practical section of what I want to tell you, there is one more truth that needs to settle first: a foundation. Because if the practical arrives before the understanding beneath it is prepared, it will not root the way it was written to. What this letter has been saying from the very beginning, pulled together into one place, is this: you were seen. In every invisible moment, in every choice that felt unwitnessed, in every night that felt like it was happening outside of my awareness, you were being watched by the one who watches completely. You were chosen, not because your path has been clean, but because of what was revealed inside the unclean parts of it. You were formed. Every delayed season, every closed door, every year that felt like abandonment, was me building a version of you capable of carrying what I am about to place in your hands. And the brightness that was native to you at birth, the connected and whole-brained clarity that was yours before the world began editing it, was not destroyed, it was buried. And what is buried can be found. A neurologist in New York, Dr. Daniel Barone, has spent 2 decades building directly on the Nobel Prize research of Dr. Roger Sperry. His team pursued one question with everything they had. If hemisphere synchrony is what was lost, and if the research proves it was lost by suppression and not by permanent destruction, can it be restored without a clinical setting, without expensive equipment, without the kind of protocol that only a small number of people with money and access have been able to reach? What they arrived at was something so straightforward that when they described it to colleagues for the first time, the colleagues were skeptical. 8 minutes. A targeted auditory sequence, built using neural sync technology, listened to with headphones in any quiet space, eyes closed, nothing else required. The sequence reconnects both hemispheres in the same synchronized configuration they held when you were a child running at full capacity. It does not ask anything of your conscious mind. It works beneath your awareness. It is simply this: headphones on, eyes closed, 8 minutes a day. A woman who came to this work had spent her entire life under the weight of a story she had inherited. Her family, she said, carried a curse. Her mother had spoken it over them, and the evidence across the years had seemed to confirm it. Her father gave 22 years of faithful service to a company, every performance review outstanding, every benchmark exceeded, and the week he was finally promoted to the position he had worked toward for 2 decades, the company shut its doors. She had absorbed that story into her own life and had been interpreting her circumstances through it for a long time. A few weeks of the auditory sequence, and something shifted in the way her thinking worked. A problem at her job that had been circling for months resolved itself for her in the middle of an ordinary meeting. The answer arrived with a clarity she had not felt in years. That same month, she received a promotion. Her marriage, which had grown cold with the particular exhaustion of 2 people carrying more than they are talking about, warmed in ways that surprised both of them. She said, "The curse is not in my blood. It was in the disconnection. The switch that was supposed to be on had simply never been flipped." I want to address something directly for those of you who have attempted other things before and felt the disappointment of bringing real expectation and finding it unmet. If you have sat with audio programs of that kind and felt nothing shift, if you have tried sound-based protocols and experienced the letdown of having hoped and not received, Dr. Barone addresses this directly, and what he says matters. Most scientists have stepped away from that branch of research entirely. Sound wave approaches are incomplete. They touch part of the equation and leave the rest untouched. Whole brain activation, the actual synchronized firing of both hemispheres together, is what the brain was built for. And the vast majority of what you will find on any streaming platform labeled as brain activation or genius state induction contains no neural sync technology at all. Dr. Barone and his team studied those tracks specifically. The labels are there to attract attention. The technology the labels describe is not present. What he built is different in kind, not simply in degree. Not a variation on what came before, a different thing entirely. He called it the genius switch. Colleagues suggested the work would be incredible value at $500. Neurofeedback clinics charge $300 per in-person session. In-home neurofeedback machines run $7,000 for the equipment alone. He released the genius switch at $49. And because you have stayed present with this letter to this point, there is an additional $10 removed from that price. Today, what his team built is available at $39. That price is not guaranteed beyond today. It is set to increase. And it comes with an ironclad 100% money-back guarantee with no limit on how many times you have listened before requesting it. You can listen 80 times. If it does not deliver what it was designed to deliver, every cent comes back to you without condition. The $39 is not a purchase in the conventional sense. It is a refundable deposit on something you deserve to verify for yourself. 4 bonuses are included at that price. A guided visualization created by one of the highest-rated creators on the most widely used meditation platform, designed to walk you through experiencing your life unfolding fully in 4 dimensions. A grocery guide that names 10 common foods consistently proven to cause brain fog and includes 5 specific methods for cutting monthly food spending by over $100, applicable at every major retailer. A classic manifestation text over 100 years old, the one that predates every modern approach, and forms the root from which all of them grew, valued at $20 on its own, and a printed infographic of the 5 habits most essential to building the life that was always intended for you. All of this comes with the $39 access today. There is one thing to know before the letter moves to its final lines. If you search for the Genius Switch or anything labeled like it on any streaming platform, you will find tracks. Dr. Barone and his team investigated them. The majority contained no neural sync technology at all. They existed to attract clicks. The actual sequence is available only through his team. The link is in the description and in the pinned comment below this letter. If your spirit confirms, what is waiting there has been waiting specifically for you. If something in this letter has begun to shift in a place that needed shifting, type 1,111 inches. The comments. You are through a threshold. What is on the other side has always been written for you. If you want to continue receiving letters like this one, if you feel the pull of continued revelation moving in your life, there is a community of chosen ones who gather in this space. You are invited to join them. You do not have to walk this path alone. Before this letter gives you its deepest line, I want to give you something first. In your mind, I want you to do something. Picture yourself standing at the entrance of a room you have never entered. The door is open. The light inside is not like any light you have seen in the ordinary world. It is the kind of light that existed before things learned to be dim. Inside that room stands the version of you that was composed before the editing began, not the version shaped by everyone else. The original, the whole-brained, full-lit, fully connected one, the one running at the capacity you arrived with. Stand at that threshold. Feel what it is like to be standing at the edge of stepping back into what was always yours, and then step forward, because that room has been waiting for you. And this letter was always the invitation. The deepest line of this letter is not about what I have prepared for you, not about the season coming, or the door about to open, or the breakthrough that has been building beneath the surface of these years. All of those things are real, but they are not the deepest line. The deepest line is this. You are the letter. I did not write a letter to you. I wrote a letter through you. Your life, gathered together in its full, particular, and specific shape, the decisions and the wounds and the recoveries and the long seasons of formation and the moments of grace that arrived when you least expected them, and the costly acts of love no one ever applauded, and the silences you held when speaking would have been easier, and the words you spoke that changed someone without you ever knowing they changed them. All of it together is my handwriting on the surface of the world. You are not merely the one who receives the message. You are the message. Every person whose life has been altered by proximity to yours, every word you spoke that arrived in someone at the precise moment they needed it, every time you chose to stay when leaving would have been easier, and your remaining was exactly what was required. Every time you saw something in someone that they could not yet see in themselves and refused to stop looking, that was not just your story. That was my letter being delivered through you to people who could not have received it any other way. You were the paper. You were the ink. You were the sealed envelope and the breaking open of it. And the people who received you, who were changed by your presence, who walked away from an ordinary moment with you carrying something they could not have named but could not set aside either, they received the letter, even when neither of you knew it. This is why the things you have been through could not have been ordinary. A love letter written to change something real in the world cannot be written from comfortable circumstances. It requires the author to be fully present, to hold nothing back, to say the truest thing even when the truest thing is the most vulnerable and exposed thing available. And your life has required exactly that of you. Again and again, you have been asked to go into the places that are most raw and most unresolved, and to remain present there, to speak from there, to serve from there. The ache you have carried was not incidental to your story. It was instructional. It was forming you, steadily, into someone who understands from the inside what it costs to mean something. And that understanding, that specific knowledge acquired only by living through it and not by reading about it or hearing about it secondhand, is precisely what makes the letter you are worth reading. It is precisely what makes your delivery authentic in a way that no manufactured performance can replicate. You have not been suffering for no reason. Every season was accounted for. Every line of your story was placed with the intention of someone who knows exactly what each line is for. The years that felt like wandering were the composition of something. The seasons that felt like loss were the building of a carrier capable of holding what was eventually going to be placed inside them. And the delivery that began in you long before you recognized it as delivery, that delivery is not finished. The pen has not left the page. The question that remains is not whether you were chosen, you were. The question is not whether you were seen, you were. The question is not whether what went quiet in you can be restored. It can. The only question remaining is whether you are willing to receive what this letter has been offering from its first line. Not proof of your worthiness. You do not need proof, not the explanation of your past. You have it now. But the fullness, the full brightness, the whole restored mind and spirit operating together at the capacity they were given to you at birth, before the world learned to press down on them. The life that was written for you before the world had time to edit it into something smaller than it was always meant to be. Receive the fullness, not a portion of it. Not the version trimmed down to what feels believable in this moment. The whole thing. Because the whole thing is what was written. Do not set this letter down and return to the same half-life. I did not write it with this much weight, for it to be beautiful and then laid aside. I wrote it to be believed. I wrote it to change the posture of the heart that holds it. Receive it with both hands, not as a comfort to carry you through a difficult week, but as a truth that rearranges the ground beneath your feet permanently, that gives you a different surface to stand on than the one you walked in with. Let me give you a moment now, not to receive anything new, not to prepare for what comes next, just to breathe once, slowly, and feel what it is to have been seen this completely. Not by a person whose seeing is limited by their own unhealed places and the hours they are not paying attention, seen by the one who has no blind spots, seen by the one who was present before your first breath and who will remain present past your last. That kind of seeing is its own restoration. Let it do its work in you right now. You do not have to do anything with it. Simply receive it. And now, in the quiet that follows that breath, let something go. Let go of the belief that you have to earn your place in what I am doing with your life. You did not earn it. I placed your name into it before you could do anything to deserve or disqualify yourself from it. Let go of the accumulated weight of the seasons that felt wasted, the years that felt more like surviving than living. They were not wasted, not 1 hour of them. Every one was accounted for and used. Everyone contributed something to the specific person that you are in this moment. Let go of the fear that the best of what you were capable of is already behind you, that you arrived at this moment too late for what you were hoping was still possible. Nothing is too late in the hands of the one who lives outside of time. Set it down, right here, in this space, in the breath that is still moving through you. Let it fall from your hands. You were never meant to carry it this far. The letter was never meant to arrive in hands that were still gripping the weight of the past. Put down what you have been holding. Both hands open. Now, rise. You are seen. You are written. You are the love letter I sent to the world before the world knew it needed one. And you are not finished. The letter is still being composed. The pen has not left the page. Every day you choose to live from the truth that your life carries real weight, that your presence in the world is not incidental or accidental or replaceable, that what was placed in you was placed for a reason that has not yet been fully delivered to everyone who needs it. Every day you make that choice, you are adding a line. You are continuing what was begun before you had a name for it. You are becoming the fullest expression of what was spoken over you before you arrived in the body you are sitting in right now. You are the chosen one, not because you are finished, not because you are perfect, not because the path behind you has been clean, but because you were written to be here, in this hour, carrying this truth and delivering it through the specific, irreplaceable shape of the one life that only you can live. Every life around you is being written, but yours was written for this, for a generation that needed the particular shape of what only you carry. For a moment that required the exact kind of presence that only the full weight of your specific years could produce. For people who need the letter that only you can be, delivered in the voice that only you have, from a place of knowing that only your story has given you. I am the one who wrote you, and I have no regrets. Type the words, I release it in the comments below. Whatever you have been carrying into this letter that was never yours to hold, this long, release it here. Let this be the moment you lay it down and do not pick it back up. You are not alone in this release. Right now, in this same moment, chosen ones all across the world are reading these same lines, arriving at this same point in the letter, setting down the same weights they have been carrying alone for far too long. When one of us is freed, all of us carry something lighter. The chosen are released together. Every time one heart believes this letter, the letter reaches further into the world through the life that believed it. There is someone in your life who has been unusually quiet lately. Someone who has been carrying something they cannot name to anyone. Someone whose smile has been working harder than their heart for a while now. Share this letter with them, not as a recommendation, as a gift, as one chosen one extending to another the same recognition that was just extended to you. I see you, and so does the one who wrote us both. And now the seal. Thank you, not the easy surface kind, the deep kind, the one that comes from the place that has actually been changed by what it received. Thank you for reading slowly when speed would have been easier. Thank you for staying when the letter pressed into the places that needed pressing. Thank you for being willing to sit in the full weight of this truth without immediately trying to reduce it to something more manageable. You were ready for this letter even before you knew you were being prepared to receive it. You were always going to be the kind of heart that could hold it without setting it down. And the one who wrote it knew that from the beginning, which is why it was written for you specifically. Receive now what has always been yours. Type the words, I am written in the comments, not I will be, not I am hoping to become, I am, present tense, because the letter was already composed before you sat down to read it. You are already the message. You are already being delivered through the specific shape of your one life to the people who need what only you carry. That delivery has already begun. It began the day you were written into existence by the one who has never written anything by accident. Every line was weighed before it was sent, and so it is.